Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iOS 15.6 RC2, or Release Candidate 2. The other day we had Release Candidate 1, and unless there's no issues found, typically a release candidate will be released to the public. But when they find an issue, they'll come out with an RC2 like we have today. And so this is currently available to developers and soon to public beta testers, usually by the time I make this video live. And then along with this, Apple also released iPadOS 15.6 RC2, but no watchOS, macOS, tvOS, or HomePod OS RC2. So just for iOS and iPadOS. Now, this particular update is a very large install at 5.37 gigabytes on the iPhone 12 Pro, and that's because it's a final build. Just like RC1, RC2 is a final build and has to fully reinstall the operating system. So it's going to be a large install. It just overwrites the other one. Now let's take a look at the build number and talk about what's new. So we'll go to Settings, then General, then About. And as you can see, the build number is 19G71, and that's just a couple numbers up from the previous build. And it's typically to resolve issues that are with RC1. Now within this update, there is no modem update. So any connectivity issues I wouldn't expect to get much better or change, as there's no modem update, at least on the iPhone 12 Pro or other devices here. So no changes there. And I did want to mention a couple things before we talk about what's new. The first thing is Apple released the new MacBook Air M2 today, and I'll have a video a little bit later on that. And also they announced Apple Music Sessions. These are available now on Apple Music. So you'll see it says exclusive live releases from Carrie Underwood, and more are available on Apple Music. So if we go to Apple Music and you scroll down under the Browse section, you can see them here. So it says Apple Music Sessions. So go into it, then you can listen to these new sessions and just some changes there with some videos and more. So that's all new today if you have Apple Music. And then also one thing I wanted to mention that I talked about in a short the other day is YouTube Picture-in-Picture. Now we've had this for some time in the United States if you're a premium subscriber, but now it's free in the United States to everyone and rolling out around the world. Now around the world outside of the United States, you'll have to pay for premium in order to get Picture-in-Picture for some reason. But if you want to use that, you can check if you have it, make sure you have an updated YouTube app, go into the YouTube app, go to the top right, tap on your account, tap on Settings. Under Settings, tap on General, and under General, you'll have Picture-in-Picture. Make sure that's turned on if you have it, and then it should work. Also, one thing they updated is appearance. Now you can use the device's theme instead of just dark theme or light theme. I like this as I have it automatically switch throughout the day. Now, if you want to use Picture-in-Picture, go back to your channel or your video. To use Picture-in-Picture, just tap on a video and then swipe up, and you'll have it in Picture-in-Picture. You can shrink it by pinching and zooming. You can swipe it off the screen, pause it, and more. So this is updated and it's available now. Now, hopefully you have that, and if you do, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Now, as far as new changes, features, and updates in RC2, well, it's pretty small as far as what I could find. With my help from Steve Mosier, the code itself shows some small changes to Apple Pay Cash as far as the wording. So if we go into Wallet, when you send and receive to a friend with Apple Pay Cash using iMessage, there's some small wording changes explaining how you can change where it's sent and received from in your settings and messages, just like you would with iCloud. So when you're sending messages or an iCloud message through Messages, you can change your iCloud address or your phone number. You can do that for this as well. No big changes there other than that as far as in the code. Now with this particular update, there are still some things that I'm sure are in the background that they've fixed, but they haven't mentioned them specifically. There's a couple standout changes within 15.6 I mentioned in a different video, and I'll just go over a couple quickly, and one of them has to do with Safari in your settings if you're clearing your history. So if you clear history and website data in your settings, clear it, you'll now have the option to close tabs or keep them open. That's something new. And then also, if you haven't seen the other video, and if you go into screen time and then select maybe a family member you have that's a child, you can see communication safety, tap on that, and you now have the option to improve communication safety. They've also added a feature in the TV app, which is great if you use sports. So Major League Baseball, if you're watching a game, it's already started, you have the option to completely start it over again, rewind, pause, or fast forward, similar to a DVR. They've also fixed the storage issue, which is great. So quite a few people were having issues with storage. I haven't seen that in this. So if we go to General iPhone Storage, I'll just load it in real time. It should load nice and quick. You'll see there, that's the first time I've loaded it. We'll let it load system data, and like I've mentioned before, system data is just sort of a cache. Sometimes this will go up and down. Typically it will stay small, but as long as you're not using data or needing that data, it will kind of take up space and go up and down. Now, this update fixes a bug with RC1 where it fixes an issue where it would say the device is full. That has been resolved in this update, and you'll see it already loaded the system data, and it's at 7.02 gigabytes. There's other fixes in Safari and more. So not anything huge with RC2. The same fixes are here, and the same known issues are here as well, strangely. So the one known issue has to do with the Home app, and again, it says the iOS device that initiates pairing needs to be logged into the same iCloud account as the Home Hub. Only the owner of a home, not an invited user, can pair Matter accessories. Apple's making a big push with Matter accessories across a different consortium of people where they have Google and others involved, and that's more about iOS 16 when they redesigned the Home app. That will probably be resolved with that. Now, as far as the phone getting too hot, I've heard from quite a few of you that it's staying nice and cool. This phone's been nice and cool the entire time, whether I'm showing it on video or whether I'm showing it elsewhere, or maybe even running benchmarks. It's stayed nice and cool, no issues there, and battery life has been pretty good. I've shared that in a different video, but battery life overall is getting people easily through a day. So let's take a look. On the iPhone X, I'll show you the battery health since it's actually below 100. So if we go to battery health, you'll see it's at 88%. That's pretty typical given its age, and it was used full time for about a year, and it's still at peak performance capability. So it's not time to replace the battery yet, but probably pretty soon. I'm not worried about it. It's just what batteries do over time. But as far as battery life on this beta or the overall release candidate, it's been quite good. So on release candidate 1, thanks to Cameron for sending this in from his 13 Pro Max, you'll see today he's had 4 hours and 48 minutes of screen on time, 4 hours and 39 minutes of screen off time, and used about 30% of his battery. Yesterday, he had 5 hours and 11 minutes of screen on time, 3 hours and 27 minutes of screen off time, and used a little over 50%. That's pretty phenomenal battery life. So no problems there. It's probably going to be the best and most stable version of iOS 15. As far as overall performance, it seems to be pretty good. I did run benchmarks. We'll take a look at that in a moment. And I opened up Minecraft on the iPhone X this time. So we'll give it a second to load and resume here. It is taking a moment, but it's a little bit older phone. Not too old, but older than the 12. And you'll see frame rates are nice and fast. No issues here. Scrolling through, reloading levels, going through the different level isn't really an issue. And I've asked this before, but I wanted to use a different game that you think will be more intensive for future videos. So let me know which would be best in the comments below. And based off what you have to say, I'll use the most popular one there. Now, as far as the overall benchmarks, they're quite good on the iPhone 12 Pro compared to the previous version. So if we go to Geekbench 5, go to our benchmarks, it scored 1,589 for single core, 4,049 for multi-core. Compared to the previous version, we're actually a little bit higher on both single and multi-core. This is one of the best scores we've gotten so far with these iOS 15.6 betas and now the release candidate. We also expect some security updates as well. We'll know more about those when this releases. And as far as when to expect this to release, well, I would expect iOS 15.6 public version to come out Monday or Tuesday. Based on having the RC2 today, that's typically what Apple does. It could be later in the week, but I think Monday or Tuesday seems likely. Also, then we'll move on to iOS 15.7 betas. We could see those later next week as well, or maybe they'll wait to the following week. That will probably be the last version of iOS 15. Now, of course, we're still waiting for iOS 16 Beta 4 and iOS 16 Public Beta 2, which will be the same thing, and we could see those again next week as well. So we could see a public release of 15.6 on Monday, followed by maybe an iOS 16 Beta 4 or Public Beta 2 on Tuesday. We'll have to wait and see what Apple does, but it could be next week or the week after for Beta 4. As far as if you should install iOS 15.6 RC2, well, if you have RC1, then definitely install it. If not, you could definitely try it out, but it won't be long until we have a final public release to solve a bunch of issues. Also with this update, if you're wondering how to go to the public version, if you're on iOS 16 betas, you can't easily do that without a computer, but if you're on iOS 15.5 or iOS 15.6 betas, just uninstall the beta profile, and then once the final comes out, you'll either already have it if you have RC2 or you'll have an update. If you're on RC2, you'll just have it early. Now, if you've found anything else or you'd like me to talk about anything else in these particular videos, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, of course, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.